This is Jennifer Denegris for ET 503, completing my Week 3 assignment. For Week 3, I decided to work with the active expressions, which are from Promethean. I introduced my third graders to these tools at the beginning of the year, but we had only used a limited number of features on the expressions, and we also had not done what's called a self-paced question set. So this week I introduced them to doing self-paced questioning, as well as how to input answers differently rather than just doing multiple choice, having short answer responses as well in their expression. I came up with the idea to practice improper fractions and mixed numbers using the expressions, which happens to correlate with our math concept for the week. My outcome for the students was that they would be able to enter their mixed numbers and improper fractions for a given set of problems from a visual that I would put up on the board with 80% accuracy. The advantage to the third graders using the expression and doing the self-paced question set was that it is self-paced. They don't have to wait for other students to be able to move to the next question, and it gives them instant feedback if they do not have a correct answer or if they do, and if it's not correct, it gives them a chance to retry the question as well. Another advantage, of course, for teachers is that it grades the work for us, so we can use that as an assessment at the end of a lesson, at the end of the day. So I hope you like the overview of what I had to do with my students this week. I briefly reviewed the instructions for the expressions and then moved on to the new ideas for them. Enjoy!
I introduced my students to using their active expressions to type fractions into a self-paced question set. I first reviewed the parts of the expression for the students that hadn't used them in a while, although we try to use them frequently. The power button, how to turn it on and off, because it does automatically shut off. Where they're using the letter and number buttons to enter their answers. And the button for sending an answer comes up after they've entered part of an answer. Gives them the option when to send it. After reviewing the parts of the expression, we need to teach them a new button to use. They needed to be able to use the slash key in order to make fractions in their expression. So we had to practice how to push a button more than one time to make the desired icon come up. The next step after teaching the lesson was to have students practice doing both the mixed numbers and the improper fractions that had been taught. This is a sample problem that might have been on the board, problem 1 and problem 2, that the students would respond to. And this is what would come up on their active expression. When the students begin doing the question set, the teacher can actually be monitoring when they've signed on by looking at their start times and watch their progress on her computer while the problems are on the board. She can see who's answered correctly, who's answered incorrectly, and what problem number they're on. You can see by this screenshot that the students are working at different paces. There's two different questions on the active expressions at the same time because one has answered and one has not. You can see in this shot a sample of what the student's screen might look like as they're putting in an answer. While the students are working, the teacher can be monitoring how long each question is taking for the students. As you can see, it's moving along in real time when they started the questions and when they answered each question. If the teacher wants, she can show the students their progress on the screen, and they can see when they're getting problems incorrect and when they're getting them correct, or the teacher can choose to keep this hidden and keep it for her own eyes. You can see the top student has answered 2 questions incorrectly, and the bottom student had not answered a single question. The last set of screenshots are showing how the teacher can use the data collected from the students to give grades, to assess understanding, and to give the students feedback on what they did right or what they did not do correctly. You can see the correct answers and incorrect answers, and you can see what the students put in. So there is a conglomeration of both what the students worked on and what the teacher was able to do with the active expressions using a self-paced question set. The active expressions have certainly been a very high motivator for my students. They enjoy watching their progress, seeing how they compare to others in the class, and being able to see those right answers pop up in front of them.